The pounding passion of the Bahamas. This is a land of overpowering beauty. The natural power of nature mixed with an 18th century calm that's reflected in the creatures and citizens here.
You get it down back, this is a regular picture right there.
And now, the culture of Wisconsin is embracing the rich island traditions. High school students from Marinette and Clintonville are here to study in a classroom unlike any other, the ocean.
Stuff you've never seen before. The ocean is so beautiful.
It's a magical opportunity.
It's gorgeous. I mean, to see that life just like floating by you is really cool.
In this Fox 11 News special report, minds and bodies will be tested as the students take in surf, sand, and study in the Bahamas.
I'm John Mercure. Welcome to Eleuthera. Eleuthera is one of 23 inhabited islands in the Bahamas. The first permanent settlement came here in 1648, when adventurers fleeing religious persecution in England and the Bahamas settled here, giving the island its name, which is actually Greek for freedom. This week, it's Northeast Wisconsin high school students experiencing freedom as they take in surf, sand, and study here on Eleuthera. Eleuthera is one of more than 700 Bahamian islands. It's located 240 miles east of Miami. The island is 100 miles long, but at its widest points only stretches a mile and a half. Eleuthera is surrounded by some of the clearest aqua water in the world. The island itself is a combination of breathtaking cliffs, calm, shallow bays, and abundant tropical plant life. Eleuthera's population, about 12,000. This week, the island's population grew by about 40 as 31 students and their teachers flew in. They landed here at the Governor's Harbor Airport on a hot, muggy afternoon, exhausted after a long day of travel, but excited as they begin the adventure of a lifetime.
This is my island, in the sun where my people have settled since time began. Hey, we got 2 passengers supposed to be going back to Lotto.
After a series of long plane rides, the surf and sun of the Bahamas is a welcome sight. Not sure what they'll see, hear, or experience in the next week, the teens are anxious as they travel through the thick brush of the tropics to their new home away from home. For many of the teens, this is their first trip outside the United States.
When they first arrive, we do see this sense of wonderment. They're a little afraid, a little apprehension. What's going to happen to me next type of thing.
Jim Jordan founded the Marine Biology School 7 years ago.
This started as a thing we were going to try and get going, and we had 2 groups the first year that we did it, and it just snowballed. One teacher led to another teacher, to another school, to another state.
For the kids, it's a rare opportunity to snorkel and hike and actually touch what they're studying.
And our job is to see that you have the best time you've ever had on any trip.
So far, it's awesome, and we haven't even went scuba diving yet.
Nighttime is a good time for the teens. It means in just a few hours, they'll get their first dip in the warm ocean water.
This is my island.
A week of surf, sand, and study is just beginning for these high schoolers. In the week ahead, there will be adventures in and out of the water that will test their fitness, their confidence, and their character.
Before they can experience the beauty of the ocean, these teens will have to learn how to handle the pounding surf.
You should be able to inhale at this point and not get any air or feel any water bubbles.
In the harbor, and I hold secret to the Lady Martha.
The water looks smooth and beautiful, and on parts of the island, it is. But always lurking are the strong currents and unpredictable waves that can destroy an afternoon or a life.
Or taking off your fin. So try and pull on both straps, kind of at the same time.
That's why getting gear
It's comfortable for you?
is about much more than just finding the right size fin or mask.
A wave will come and knock your fins out of your hands if you don't listen to what we're saying, if you don't get in properly.
How does this feel? Okay, that might be a little bit too tight. Try and pull that band off real quick for me.
A little bit higher, right just below the crown of your head.
Selecting the proper size gear will help ensure that the long snorkels ahead go as planned. Our first journey into the warm Eleutheran surf is a safety dive.
Place the mask on your face first, and then pull the strap over.
The water is shallow, and the students learn snorkeling basics.
Keep your face down, standing up. Keep your face in the water.
Lessons learned here in 3 feet of water will be crucial once the snorkeling moves out into the open ocean, where the sea floor can be down hundreds of feet. The instruction is critical, and once students have received that instruction and checked their equipment, the fun part of the dive begins. That's when they actually get to begin the snorkel. Alabaster Bay teems with marine life. Stingrays, schools of tropical, colorful fish, breathtaking coral. It's all just a short snorkel from shore.
It was kind of scary until you got used to it. You felt like you were not supposed to breathe under the water.
I saw a couple barracudas this morning, starfish.
Saw a lot of fish on that last one around the ledge over there, and we saw a shark too.
Many students climb out of the water in awe.
It doesn't seem like you're really there, or that owl that's right there to see. You only see it on TV or in books.
I've been having lots of fun, and this is my first time in the ocean, so it's pretty cool.
It's really cool, and I'm really glad I got a chance to come down here and see it.
And this is only a tiny peek at what the high schoolers will experience in the coming days.
Let's have some fun.
Most of the week's activities involve the students being in the water, but there are days where there's as much hiking as swimming. Leaders here at the Institute of Marine Biology know that time spent on land can be as valuable as time spent in the water. The mystery of Eleuthera lies not only in her turquoise water, but also in her diverse geology. On day 3, the students take a break from the water and discover some of the island's unique topography.
I don't know of another cave in the Bahamas that has these types of formations.
And until the cave was only recently rediscovered, the bats were the only sign of life in here.
The tidal and current surges washed all of these caverns out, and you can just see how it looks like part of Grand Canyon.
Amid the smell of mold and the quiet dripping of water, the teens are tense in this uncharted territory.
Most of the snakes here are not poisonous.
The cave is humid and extremely dark, and it's an eerie feeling looking at cave writing that's been here for more than a century.
This is a very tarry type substance, and when you write on the wall with it, and that's how all these names were put up here well over 100 years ago.
You get to see a lot of pictures and stuff in magazines and all that, and finally you get to see that stuff. Stalagmites, stalactites.
It's very slippery here, though, so be very careful.
And just as the teens begin to get comfortable, the pace changes. We head down another story into a cavern filled waist-deep with water. And this chilly water feels more like Lake Michigan than the Bahamas. After 15 minutes of waist-deep wading and hands-on history, it's time to leave the cave. And leaving may be the toughest part of the journey.
Do not stretch out from the ladder. Hug the ladder. That's it. There you go.
We must scale a 20-foot stone face on a rope ladder.
I'm not afraid of heights.
Many of the teens are nervous, but everyone makes it.
Take your time, one step at a time.
I like climbing up the ladder when we had to climb up on the rope ladder. I thought that was fun. When we went through the water, walking through that was pretty cold right away. I think there's a lot more stuff to the Bahamas, than just the water, and you finally get to see that.
The teens keep written records of all the things they observe. Hiking activities are detailed.
We saw a lot of those. We saw that one.
And a dive log documents every plant and animal seen underwater.
I saw sea walnut.
The jellyfish were hard to avoid.
This is not just a week for fun. It's also about learning.
And just filling these out helps you on the next dive because you're gonna look at things a little more closely.
And by the end of these long days, most of the students are eager to look at their beds more closely. The nightly study sessions and dive logs reinforce what the students learn here on the island. It also gives each teen a written record of his trip and a handy reference source. Still to come, some Bahamian history. Learning the lessons taught here on the island can often be a tremendous amount of work. It involves a hike sometimes through the brush and over rocks to arrive at locations ideal for studying marine biology. And for many of these students, the journey to Turtle Hole and the snorkel that followed was a highlight of the trip. Another day awakened with a traditional Bahamian greeting, but this day will be like no other that the teens have ever experienced. Turtle Hole is a 45-minute hike through thick, uncut brush.
It's a very deep sinkhole, so be careful.
And the treacherous terrain is not the only potential problem.
Yeah, when I see poisonwood, I'll point it out.
The students all carry their snorkel gear on their back.
Twisting, turning, winding trails over sinkholes. We occasionally get a rain shower in there, and by the time the students get there, they feel like they've really accomplished something.
Dripping with humidity and bitten by unseen bugs, we finally arrive at the water.
It was a long hike. I'm glad to see the ocean. Oh, it was real long and took a long time. I had to watch your foot and watch out for the rocks. Didn't want to trip over the log and fall in one of them big sinkholes.
This is the one point we hear the most off-the-cuff complaints from kids on, and it's also the point that the teachers tell us that the kids remember, and it's like a badge of honor to have made that hike.
And now, with only a moment to catch their breath, the students prepare for the longest snorkel of the week.
Yeah, your legs can kind of feel it after a while.
You tired?
I'm kind of not. I'm kind of exhausted.
Turtle Hole is a series of sea caves and narrow cuts in the island's rocky cliffs. The cliffs were carved out by the Atlantic Ocean over millions of years. It's here that much of the island's abundant marine life can be found. On this day, we see parrotfish and a yellow stingray. Some of the students were apprehensive about the water a couple of days ago. Now they all snorkel like seasoned pros.
They come down here and get into the ocean, and in 3 or 4 days, they're free diving down to 15 or 20 feet. They're totally at ease, and they look like they've been doing it for years.
Part of what makes Turtle Hole so special are the unique rock arches and formations that the teens snorkel through. The beauty of the Bahamas is on full display here at the hole. The air is warm, the water, while salty, is cool and refreshing. After several hours in the water, the teens and their teachers drag themselves onto the beach and exchange stories about what they saw in the sea.
The big barracuda, who stood there with his mouth wide open.
And the students know that the long, humid hike out is still ahead.
I hated the hike in, I'll hate the hike out.
And so the journey ends.
Oh, man.
The way it began.
I want to go home.
Turtle Hole and other island locations are more than just landmarks to native Bahamians. They're actually pieces of living history. Bahamians are very proud of their history and heritage, and they're eager to share it with those willing to listen. Life on Eleuthera has its own intoxicating rhythm. Bahamian life is a rich mixture of pulsating passion and the serenity that comes with living on an island paradise. The Bahamas is a young nation, gaining independence from Britain only 25 years ago. Like many emerging democracies, the nation has its share of incredible, sometimes overwhelming poverty. But if the island's people are poor economically, they're rich in spirit.
We just live one to one, one for one and one for all. That's how we live here in the Bahamas.
Pink and white conch shells have been the unofficial symbol of the Bahamas for centuries.
Yeah, the one blow, the one party, the one everybody. Uh-huh.
The way it's most often enjoyed is in a conch salad.
It's been here from my father, your father, and all the others. It's like a product that, you eat it, satisfies the nature of your body, and everybody enjoys it.
And the conch chefs have as much flavor as the salad.
Need some conch in my place, because I got no conch here to make a big disgrace. Yeah.
There's not much farming to speak of.
Can I open this, Blanche?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the limited fresh fruit and vegetables available fetch a high price.
They $5, them big ones.
Blanche makes her living at this small stand, and when she's not peddling papaya, she ponders life in the endless waves. Part of the week's study is a hands-on look at Bahamian history.
This is not just all water. There's an island here too, so it is important to learn about the history in the island.
Each village has several churches and several religions. Faith is a word you hear over and over. The other word used frequently is pride.
When I think of my country, I think of pride, you know, coming from far down, like poverty, coming way up to supporting ourselves and our whole country.
Terry's lived on the island his whole life, and he gladly shares island traditions with his new friends.
Rule number 1, keep your fingers out of the way.
Today's lesson is how to cut a coconut. Terry uses a cutlass. It's the tool of choice on the island, used on everything from heavy brush to dangerous animals to, yes, coconuts. The teens even get to taste the fresh coconut. Another island tradition that the students try is traditional hair braiding. And even with flying fingers, it can take an hour to do one head of hair. And hours can be lost watching the surf pound the white limestone cliffs on the Atlantic side of Eleuthera.
You can get an idea of how this island was formed.
The rugged beauty is relaxing and overwhelming.
You really get to feel the Bahamas, because you can look at all the fish you want and you're going to say, ooh, really cool. But when you come in here and you can see what really happens on the island, it makes the whole effect.
An effect that echoes in your soul long after you leave the island.
5 years now?
This is where Jim Jordan's soul is at ease. The soft, warm beaches of Eleuthera are a long way from the Wapaka neighborhood Jordan used to live in. Just off his porch lies one of the most vibrant coral reefs in the world.
Water is predominantly clear. The reef is very close to shore, almost the entire length of the island. We don't need a boat to get out there. And we've got some of the most spectacular coral formations you'll see anywhere right out in front here.
In 1992, Jordan decided to leave life in the States behind and begin the Institute of Marine Biology here on the island. This was an empty lot filled only with the dreams of Jordan. Now, 7 years later, the Institute hosts more than 250 students a summer, nurturing a love of marine biology.
We have kids from 5 years ago that send us a note how thankful they are that they had the program to go to, how glad they were that we showed them the environment that we have here, and they have gone on to study marine science in some way, shape, or form.
And the students on our trip echoed that sentiment.
That's so different from home, something different and new, and stuff you've never seen before.
Jordan says it's that look of wonder in kids' eyes.
Bite down on those pieces and keep your lips right around.
That sense of awe when they first feel the ocean, that keeps him going.
I'm very proud of what we've accomplished here, and we still have more to do.
Jim Jordan does know the importance of reaching out to students and connecting with them on their level, nurturing a genuine love and respect for nature. And students, they know that the unique beauty of the island makes this a learning environment they may never again encounter.
This is my island in the sun.
The Island in the Sun gives high schoolers a classroom unlike any other they'll ever learn in again.
You can actually see everything, you know, like without looking in a book, and all the physical features are like right in front of you. You can actually see it for yourself.
You learn so much about things that you wouldn't learn, you know, when you're sitting in a classroom, I think.
When the ocean is your classroom, the lessons take on new meaning.
It's so clear. It's just, you can see everything, all the colors, and it's like it's not murky or anything like that.
But I mean when you're on here.
And teachers like Keith Young of Marinette say 1 week of learning in the Bahamas is like 1 year in the classroom.
They get to see what they actually learn in the classroom. It's
it's the hands-on experience that seems to really reward them. And they say, oh, that's what you were talking about. That's the excitement of it.
What's this?
You definitely learn better doing it hands-on than if you would in a book.
It's been a busy week.
Where we waded in, the current took you right there.
Snorkeling, hiking, sightseeing. These are the things students will remember.
I think there's a lot more stuff to the Bahamas, you know, than just the water, and you finally get to see that.
The island is primitive, but friendly, distant, but cozy.
It's really cool, and I'm really glad I got a chance to come down here and see it.
The surf and sand of the Bahamas are hard to duplicate. Even harder to copy are the lessons learned right here on the island. They're things that just can't be taught in the classroom. Since 1992, when the Institute of Marine Biology opened, more than 2,000 high schoolers have snorkeled and hiked and learned here. And as the summer continues, so will the lessons being learned on Eleuthera. I'm John Mercure. Thanks for watching.
This is my island, in the sun where my people have dwelt since time begun. Though I may sail on many seas, the shores will always be home to me. Oh, island in the sun